Welcome ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna do the same thing with Magicka setups. Now keep in mind we're still on the PTS server, it is kind of laggy, so once the update goes live on the live server we will do more DPS simply because the game will run smoother. On this Magicka DK I am running 5 pieces Burning Spellweave, 2 Grofgar, 4 Moondancer, and then on the back bar I have an Inferno Sharpen. I am a high elf here. If you were a dark elf you probably would get slightly more damage due to the passives. As you might have noticed, I double barred Wall of Fire. Why do I do this? Because that way I only have to bar swap every 16 seconds. So like every time we bar swap we lose DPS. That way I kind of like save a lot of time and it gives me slightly more DPS. As you can see we are running Elemental Drain here, which gives us Major Breach. We need to run Elemental Drain simply because of the Magicka return, otherwise like it's just not possible to sustain on a Magicka setup. Be aware that the DPS numbers can vary a lot. For example, my buddy there, Taka, like he managed to reach 40k on Magicka DK single target. It's just like very vague and the lag makes it really hard to reach like good numbers at all. Magicka Sorcerer. So basically, like, I managed to reach the highest single target DPS on the PTS on Magicka Sorcerer with or without the pet build, okay? Now the reason why do I use a pet build, this pet there is so fucking OP. Like, it deals between 4 to 5k single target DPS. Keep in mind, it's actually AoE damage, so it will deal a shit ton of AoE damage as well. Now, the only question is, will it survive encounters or not? I am running 5 Burning Spellweave, 2 Elambris, 3 Moondancer, and then Maelstrom, Staff, Shock on the front, and a Fire on the back, both sharpened. Zenimax changed the curse recently, so now like it explodes at 3.5 seconds and it echoes at 12 seconds. Now, some people say like it is more DPS if you reactivate it every 3.5 seconds. However, I actually like that they introduced this new mechanic. It's simply like it allows you to do more different stuff. You can weave more force boosts and that kind of things. Another thing, actually, it would be better to drop off Inner Light and put on Bound Armament simply because it gives you slightly more damage. So if I had done that, I probably would have gotten even more DPS. If you use the curse that buffs the pet will reach around 7 to 8k single target DPS, so that's also something to consider actually. For Magicka Templar, the best setup will most likely still be dual wield and a fire stuff on the back bar. I tried to play with a shock stuff on the front and the fire stuff on the back bar, but I didn't even get close to the DPS with dual wield. The thing is, like, now, like on this setup, I'm running 5 Burning Spellweave, 5 Moondancer, and 2 Grofgar, okay? So the extra Moondancer buff we gain, which is either like 400 recovery or like 400 spell damage, is just too strong to actually not be used on a Magicka Templar. That's the thing. Now, also, like in the last patch we used Mother Sorrow, but as you know they nerfed Aggressive Warhorn, so we are going to swap to Burning Spellweave. So if you haven't farmed the set yet, go get on it. I am using Purifying Light here. For example, in trials usually I prefer using a Ritual of Retribution because most fights we encounter are like there is more than one mob, right? So Ritual of Retribution will do more damage than Purifying Light because it's actually AoE damage. Another thing to consider is that Zenimax changed like how Elemental Drain works, so it's called Minor Magicka Steel now. So like Magicka Templars probably benefit the most from it, because we actually have better sustain than ever now through this change. So it will be easier to sustain for a Magicka Templar. So you most likely will not need the channeled focus anymore, for example. On the Nightblade, I am using 5 Burning Spell Weave, 4 Moon Dancer and 2 Grofgar. Keep in mind, like, we are using Merciless Resolve here, which gives us 8% more damage compared to the other classes. So like in Trials, for example, you, like, the other classes also have those 8 extra, like, percent damage, right? So that's something you need to keep in mind. Then also, usually if you're a Nightblade, you probably have to go ranged, so you most likely either want to use Valkin or Elambris maybe, but then you need a shock staff. I'm not really sure if that's useful at all. It's hard to say which monster set is the best. Maybe even a setup without the monster set, though it's hard to say. Like, monster sets still deal quite some nice damage, that's the thing. Another thing, like, they buffed Twisting Puff. It does now quite nice damage. It's still less than the Wall of Fire, but it comes close to it, so I really like that change. Another thing to keep in mind is, for example, on Magicka Sorcerer and Magicka Nightblade, it might be worth running Necropotence over something else, but we will have to do more tests. Because, like, on a Nightblade, sure, the shades work. On the Sorcerer, the question is, will the pet survive or not? And then another thing is, are pets stealing the buffs or not? So, like, my people say they don't, because the buffs prioritize player, but I will try to figure out that once we are doing a raid and we actually have some pets around, just to see how it goes, and I will make a separate video about that kind of issue. I will put the screenshot with the 4 DPS meters into the description of the video. So like what I want to touch on is the Burning Spell with proc. You see, like, on most classes it is around 60%, so that's probably what you will get in average with those kind of setups. Actually, as you can see, like, I had more uptime on my Nightblade than I had on my Stem DK, which is kind of weird, to be honest, but I guess that's fine. Most classes have similar damage, as you can see. Like, you should, like, it's just a comparison. Basically, sometimes I got more on Magicka DK, sometimes more on Nightblade, and all that kind of stuff. The only thing that really, like, took my attention was the Magicka Sorcerer. That dude just shit on all other scores, literally. Like, it's so strong, it's fucking insane. Like, no matter whether you use actually the pet or not, it's like about the same strong. And you can see, like, the pet did 3.5k pulse damage, and then, like, you can't see it, but more down the way, like, the pet's light attack also do another 900 to 1k damage. So that's like 4.5k single target damage from the pet alone. And this is AoE damage, so in an AoE fight, 10 to 20k AoE damage from that shitty pet. That's fucking insane. Now, again, like, the question is, does it survive or not? So that's what we need to figure out. So we'll have fun on experimenting around a little bit with pets, maybe. We will see. The thing is, if we use pets, we could use Necropotence. And we know, like, pets scale off Magicka, so the more Magicka you have, the more damage you do. So the pets will probably even do more damage. I will maybe try to do a separate video on that matter, just to compare, like, the damage difference if I have time. Another thing you might have noticed, like, when you compare the spell crit values, like, it's lower on the Sorc. I don't know why. Like, when you look at the stats, average 48% spell crit, that's not really correct. Because you see, like, on the more on the left side, when you do hit and then critical, it says 55.4%. So it's similar to the other classes. However, I don't know why it only shows me 48% there. That's very, very weird, to be fair. But it doesn't really matter. Something must have bugged out. Like I know I had the 5th Mundo Stone because you can see like the critical is at like a 55%, so I probably had my 61. As we all know, the monster sets can't really crit anymore, so it will be slightly lower. Then another thing, you see like Hrothgar sometimes, or like proc sets in general, like monster sets, still seem to proc somehow. I don't know why. I'm not sure if it's just a bug from the UI thingy or not, but I guess we will find out soon on the live server. That's basically it. If you have any questions or like things that you want to mention, make sure to ask or like leave a reply in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Cheers.